So welcome everybody to the webinar of today. Today I will give you just a general overview of what Bluemix is and a very quick demo just showing the web user console. First of all, who am I? I'm Stefanos Bankin. I'm an architectural advisor of the Bluemix team based in Dublin, and I have around 10 years of experience in software developing and project management for web application, desktop application, and service-oriented architecture project. The programming languages where I have deeper knowledge are actually Java and C# for .NET, but I like programming and learning all new framework and technology, and Bluemix gives me the chance to use a lot of framework for mobile, IoT as well, and using a lot of languages like Ruby, Python, PHP, Node.JS, and it's very interesting. So we will have time at the end of the webinar for the Q&A session, but you can post during the webinar whichever question you want, and I will answer and gather all together for the end of the So the agenda of today, I will give you an intro on what Bluemix is. I will explain what Bluemix is, and an overview of the catalog and the architecture of Bluemix. Then I will show you the advantages and the pricing model of the Bluemix platform. Furthermore, we will take a tour to the Bluemix web user console using the web user interface of Bluemix. For a live demo, we create very quickly a Node.JS app. At the end of the presentation, you will have a clear understanding of what IBM used to bring in the cloud environment for the PaaS offering, and how Bluemix can help your project to grow and succeed. So what Bluemix is? Bluemix is a cloud platform which you can use to build, host, develop, manage, and run almost all types of application, from web, mobile. When I say mobile, I mean the backend services that you can host on the web, but you can call it from your front-end device, iOS or Android or hybrid. And then you can use a lot of big data services, analytics, Watson cognitive, and analytics, and IoT, the Internet of Things, for managing the smart device. Bluemix provides access to a catalog of services, which are APIs, and access to an infrastructure that allow you to give to go live and scale rapidly. Bluemix offers several layers of security, a lot of DevOps services as well, and on-prem systems integration, all with flexible pricing model. So if you take a look on the normal on-premises IT, you will we see that the organization takes the full responsibility for the setting up, managing, maintaining, and scaling everything from the back end to the front end. And usually the organization needs to do this every time they start a new project. With the cloud business model for the infrastructure as a service layer and for the platform as a service layer, the organization may use a service provider for either the infrastructure, platform, or even the software, or all of them. Obviously, it depends from the organization side and the IT requirement. In terms of IBM offer, organization can use soft layer for the infrastructure, or Bluemix if on top of the infrastructure for the platform as a service layer. And they also require that's all. For Plus, from the software as a service pure layer on top of Bluemix, you can use a lot of DevOps services for managing the lifecycle management for continuous integration and continuous delivery of your project. Maybe you noticed that in the slide there is some picture of open source technology, because that is right, because Bluemix runs on top of SoftLayer for the infrastructure and on top of Cloud Foundry for the platform. This is a focal point because it shows that IBM is not locking the customer to any proprietary platform or system, and it's the way that we are driving innovation in IBM. And we can really say that IBM strongly bets on open source for cloud business, using OpenStack for the infrastructure as a service, and using Cloud Foundry for the platform as a service. That's why IBM, the choice of top management of IBM is to don't close on any proprietary technology the users of Bluemix. You can choose on your own to migrate vendor once you bring your app on top of Bluemix, and you will see later on that a lot of services are available in the platform that are managed from other vendor or from the open source community. This is the slide for the open source one. Then let's focus quickly on Bluemix structure and architecture. The soft layer is based on virtualized hardware, or rather a virtual machine with a Docker container with inside a framework and the runtime, and then inside is installed your application. You have to focus that each execution environment for your service or app is totally isolated from the execution environment from other applications, even though these apps are on the same physical machine, used to share the physical machine and the virtual machine as well. But what you have dedicated is your own container. From the geographically point of view, the cluster of servers of Bluemix, and I mean the public one, the public version of the of Bluemix services, are available in several regions. Actually, US, UGB, and Australia. And that's the link of the web user interface public console. Plus, there is other two kind of approach to Bluemix. One is the dedicated Bluemix, where you have where you claim an instance of your own dedicated Bluemix just for you. You can claim it in every soft layer data center that are all over the world. And then another way for working on Bluemix is with the local Bluemix. Local Bluemix is a solution that maybe is adapted for the large company, where is the company that used to provide the hardware with some requirement, and IBM make for them a custom installation. But from some point of view, you lost the benefit of using the cloud with this solution. Bluemix is based on a list of services, the catalog, and you can choose from lots of pre-built application, feature, and services. But I will show you better in the live demo how to access to the catalog. Because the catalog is composed of the runtimes, the data management services, the mobile services for support of the backend side for mobile, DevOps services, web application services, integration services, Internet of Things, big data, security, and what's on cognitive. Plus, there is the boilerplate. But anyway, I will show you better later, direct in the catalog. Let's focus on the advantages of using Bluemix. First of all, with Bluemix, the developers can quickly coding and deploy software. Bluemix allows developers the flexibility to choose their own languages and tooling. Allow the end user to compose their application of whichever services, IBM, third party, and community. You will see later that you can use PHP for your app, Java, Node.JS, Ruby, the Swift server snapshot, and so on, plus the community one. We can see that we are still going in a more agile development, moving from the local, the typical waterfall linear process based on the separation of the step of analyze, plan, design, build, test, deploy, and maintenance, to an agile, incremental, and cycling process where you will do the analysis, you will plan, you will design, build, test, and you will deliver the first piece of your app as a shell, and then you will go cycling on this first kernel of your solution, and enlarge that with other feature and so on. And this is the typical agile approach to the development. And then in terms of scaling, it's very important to know that your application can scale in terms of data usage and traffic using controlled and auto-scaled services tool from the catalog as well. From the economical point of view, with Bluemix, we move from a CapEx to OpEx. That means the system of capital expenditure, where you have fixed costs for asset, versus the operational expenditure, where all the costs are for ordinary business. You have no total cost of ownership for managing the life cycle of purchase, installation, management, and maintenance and disposal of all the IT assets, either hardware or software. And in relation to the software development lifecycle, Bluemix is fully integrated with the DevOps services, and the services for continuous integrations and continuous delivery from IBM and third party are available directly in the Bluemix catalog. Okay, then let's take a look on the pricing model. You can start with the sign up to Bluemix trial version. It requires a matter of minutes. Then a 30-day free trial, no credit cards required, allow you to experience all the Bluemix has to offer: runtimes, boilerplate, services, Docker, and the virtual machine that actually are in beta, but this is a kind of offer. I will explain you better later on. Once you're ready to move forward with Bluemix, you can access to the pay-as-you-go model, where you pay just for what you use, runtimes and services, and nothing more. And if you remain under the free tier, you are not charged at all, because each service has its own freemium. This is the freemium model. Each service has its own free tier. That can be the amount of data for data storage service, or the amount of API call that you do for example, Watson cognitive services. Or the third option, if you do a massive usage of in the pay-as-you-go model, you can start a subscription, picking a monthly commitment price and subscription term. You will receive a discount on pay-as-you-go rates with credits that you can spend on pay-as-you-go. So let's jump to the demo. This one is the UK console. I'm just logging in. As you can see here on the right, you have the status of your account. Now I'm logging in with my account that corresponds to my email. And for each account, you can choose the region where to work, and you will log in to the specific URL to Sydney, US, or United Kingdom. Actually, I'm logging in to I'm pointing the endpoint of UK. And then here you have the organization. What the organization is? The organization is a kind of aggregation for team working. And in each account, you can create one or more organization. And you can figure out the organization like your project. For instance, for each project that you bring on Bluemix, you can create an organization and invite other people via an email to that organization, and they can work with you to the developing environment, to the delivery environment, to the delivery process of your services and app. On trial, you can create only one organization, but once you step on the page you go, you can create as much as your organization as you want. And then for each organization, you can invite, create these spaces. You can figure out these spaces like the environment that you have for your project. For instance, developing, testing, and production, or other that you want to create specific on that. And once you invite people to the organization, you can give to them the grant to how to act to the organization. You can give the grant to work as developer, and they will are able to create app and edit code, access to the source code, and add new services. Or you can give to them the grant to act as a manager that can invite other people as well, or just an accountant that is able just to access and read which usage and how should be billed your services on your account. Then I will create a space. I will call it webinar. Inside of the space, I can create my app. I have to choose how to work, because the three way for working with Bluemix is via Cloud Foundry apps, via Docker containers, or via virtual servers. Actually, virtual server is in beta and is available only in UK. Why? Because it's a preview of what will happen in the future, because IBM is still planning to merge the infrastructure as a service offering for Bluemix with the platform as a service offering of SoftLayer. But with the virtual server, you have to manage your own operating system and all that you want to install on that. With Cloud Foundry apps, you have to manage only your app, because you will have the runtime already prepared, and you can attach to that all the services that you want, and I will show you later in the catalog. With containers, you can personalize some configuration, because, for instance, with the Cloud Foundry apps, you will expose your app to an URL public on internet, but you can use only you can expose your service only on two public ports. The HT, that is HTTP 80, the port number 80, or for 3, there is HTTPS. So if you need to open some sockets from your app, you need to do it via WebSocket. Otherwise, if you need to open some custom services and ports, you can expose an IP rather than an URL, and you need to manage your own container, where you have to manage and expose and doing some custom configuration. So let's create an app. I will choose a web app, and then I can choose whichever runtime I want. For instance, I will use Node.JS. This is the wizard, very simple, and I will give a name to the app. So my app will be staged, and will be running and exposed to any URL. The tree model, where you can interact with your app and from your local machine with the source code and the remote platform, is via an IDE, like Eclipse, and you can download and install all the plugins for Eclipse for using that, via Cloud Foundry command line interface, that is the interface from command line, or via Git. You can use and leverage the powerful of the DevOps services, because with the Git you can host your source code on the repository of the source, that is git jetsub, made from IBM inside of Bluemix, and you can create a delivery pipeline with a specific DevOps services, where you establish that when the developers used to do a commit to the repository, a delivery wave can start, and it can bring automatically in all the spaces that correspond to your environment the builded application. So, for instance, you can establish that it will go on developing environment rather than in test. You can insert some unit tests inside, and you can leave the final step for delivery your app in production to your own manual acknowledgement. So now the app is up and running, so I can just execute that. I will expose it to a public URL, but you can manage your own custom domain if you want to, if you have your own domain. And for interact with the app, you can just start from the start coding steps. First of all, you have to download the starter code, and that one is a typical app Node.JS starter code. So that one is the hierarchy of a Node.js project that use the package JSON and will start the app.js. This is the heart, the point of starting of my app. You can import it on Eclipse, for instance. That's what I've already did here, importing in Eclipse. But Eclipse is very focused if you work in Java, because you have a lot of feature for working with Java Liberty Profile, the application servers based on BaaS from IBM. Or you can use whichever text editor you want. For instance, if I would like to use the Sublime text, I can open my project. So let's go to downloads, up to Node.js. Okay. And here I have all my projects. First of all, you have the package JSON. I will tell you a little bit, maybe not all of you are able to develop, so don't know. So I will go very quickly. And then if you would like to have an overview of more specific services, we can take a look on that. Anyway, the very important is the manifest YML that has a lot of directives related on how to use and how to push this specific for Cloud Foundry, how to use the app and publish it. So it will say the host, the domain, is the ones that I showed, the number of instance of the runtime to create, the memory to use, the disk quota, and so on. So if I want just to do a very small update to this app, I will go to the static HTML file and change hello world to I will just change hello webinar. So I just need to save. Then, as you can see, that one was the previous version, say hello world, and then I have to just follow the steps that are suggested here. So moving in from my command line interface to the actual directory, I will do that. Let's move to app. That is my application, and then I have to point the endpoint. I'm still using command that I've already installed. You just need from this link to install the Bluemix command line interface, the Cloud Foundry command line interface, and then you will be able to have the Bluemix command and the CF command. So I will execute CF pointing the API EUGB on Bluemix, and now I will do the login using Bluemix login minus U correspond to my account, the organization, and the space that I've created. Webinar. I will enter my password. Without wronging. Okay, and then I'm logging in with my users, organization, and space. And then I can simply type CF push, because once I will type CF push, what will happen on Bluemix, CF push, it will scan my actual directory, will found the manifest.yml, and it will use it for publish my application. And it will discover, because the Cloud Foundry has some script that will discover from the hierarchy of my project, it is a Node.js project, so we'll create a container on top of Bluemix, a Docker container, installing the Node.js runtime, and then we'll use the package.json for installing all the dependencies for Express, because I will publish a web application in Node.js, and then we'll use the start node app.js is the point of starting of my application, and it will be redirected to the public directory where I have my static HTML. This is purely technical, so let's back to a higher level. During the it's already pushed. So if I back to the overview, I can see that the app was restaged and restarted. I can restart, see that the status is unknown, and check if the status is on. The app is running. Let's see if our app is updated. If everything is correct, obviously my app will be updated, because I've just updated the static HTML file. So now let's take a look of the catalog. As I said, the first section is about the boilerplates. Boilerplates are starter kit where you can start using Bluemix, and you have some example of runtimes, source code, and services that are combined. For instance, you can take a look of the ASP.NET Core Cloud Unstarted that bring you the chance to see the ASP.NET runtime with the C# source code, and how to attach it to a NoSQL database, -DB. For the IoT point of view, we'll create to you a service for IoT Cloud Foundation, that is the MQTT broker, and you will be able to manage it with a Node.js app that will receive the info of the device connected via the MQTT broker. Then there is samples for Java, Node.js, that is very nice. This is the strong loopback framework for the API Explorer. Then there is few examples for the mobile, for how to connect a front-end mobile using the specific SDK that are available. Because for the mobile point of view, you will expose all your REST services for backend on top of Bluemix. But using this feature, you don't need you can hide to the front-end developers that will be work for iOS, for Android, or for an hybrid platform like Aptana or mobile first platform. I can hide to them how to call the backend service via URL, because you can use a specific SDK, is an amount of library that you can download and use for specific for Android, iOS, or a hybrid like Aptana on mobile first platform. Then there is the Node.JS framework that's very useful for if you plan to manage the IoT workflow, because with the web user interface you can manage the workflow of the data. There is other starter kit for Python and Ruby as well. Then the runtimes, as I said, you will by which you will create, like I did for Node.js, a skeleton app for .NET. This is based on ASP.NET 5, Java, the Swift server snapshot. Apple brings this. It was bought with a partnership from Apple and IBM, and now Apple decided to bring the Swift source code that is very popular in US for using for the Apple device, so Apple phone, iPhone, and tablet, but you can use it for the back-end services as well, because it will be run on top of Linux as well, not only on the Mac OS X. Xpages is the old Lotus Domino native framework. Go, PHP, Python, Ruby. Tomcat is, I don't know why they put it here, but is out of the box on my side, because like Java is not Java, is a Java Liberty Profile. This is a light version of WebSphere, so you have the chance to use Java on top of Tomcat as well. But they should put this one in another section from my side. Plus, you can use the community build pack if you plan to use, for instance, Meteor. This is based on Node.js, or I don't know if they are Perl runtime, but so you can use whatever you want, or you can write your own build pack based on the ones of the source of the open community. And the containers, as I said, if you plan to use from another side, that are another point of using the platform, not with the Cloud Foundry command line interface. And there is all the Watson. From now ahead, I will show you all the services that you can attach to your application for calling API, or for storage data, or so on. But anyway, you can use it from your Docker container as well, because all the services here will be exposed to a public URL that you can call via HTTPS securely. So the Watson section, you will find all the services related with the cognitive, for instance, for doing machine learning, for doing language translation, for translate the speech to text or text to speech, or for doing visual recognition. In the mobile section, there are the services related with the backend mobile. For instance, the mobile quality assurance is a service that brings you the chance to receive a feedback from about the usage of your front-end app. The push notification brings you this chance to send messages with push. The DevOps section, there are all the services related with the continuous delivery and continuous integration, like the delivery pipeline that I've mentioned to you before, or for instance, very nice is the track and plan services that is very useful for using, like with Jet's GitHub, like Git with Jira. So it's a kind of Jira where you can submit and manage with an agile profile approach how maybe a Scrum Master is able to assign the task to the developers and receive feedback with them, and they manage all the life cycle of the implementation of your app. In the web application section, you can find useful services like how to manage the session cache, how to manage message hub, that is a kind of MQ message queuing services, how to manage the workflow inside of your app, and in all these sections you can see that you will find the turquoise squared service and the green squared service, because the turquoise one are managed from IBM, but you can find the third-party managed service as well, because the Bluemix catalog is a kind of marketplace. In the integration, it's very useful because there is a very important service like this one, Secure Gateway, that will bring you the chance to integrate and doing what is called a hybrid cloud. For instance, if you want to attach and expose a database or a service that you want to retain on your own premises, but you want to publish it via the app hosted on Bluemix, you can do that. It will create a tunnel from your app and your own premises service, so you can expose in your app hosted on Bluemix an Active Directory or an OpenLDAP service or a MySQL database, for instance. And so it's very important because maybe you want to retain on your own network some data because you want to retain inside of your home and inside of your nation. In the data and analytics section, you will find all the database storage services, both for classic relational, like for instance DB, that is a version of DB2, plus has some analytics feature for working with R, or there are the NoSQL database. Are very popular in the last years. You can use, for instance, for NoSQL, the Cloud and NoSQL, Coach, Coach DB, or there is the offering for Compose, for instance, MongoDB. Plus, there is all the, because Compose was acquired from IBM, you can find the PostgreSQL, the Redis. It's very useful for maybe live data. Plus, you can access to specific data, the public data. For instance, you can via the Insight for Twitter services, you can access to the GNIP database. Where owned from Twitter, you can access to the topic tweeted from the users. This is a kind of public, a public database. Or, for instance, you can with the weather company data, you can access to weather data, to Meteo. For the security section, you can use the service that bring you the chance to control the access to your app, once for all the single sign-on service, where you can use your own database if you want to retain the credentials for access to your database, to your application on your own premises, or you can attach and use some public grant services, like using the users of LinkedIn or Facebook and so on. And then you have a lot of section and thousands of services. How very important is the API Connect, that is a refactoring of the strong loopback framework that bring you the chance not only to create from a wizard, from a model, your own API like strong loop, but you can manage it with the API Explorer like strong loop, but on top of API Connect there is the API Designer and API Management as well, that bring you chance to manage it from the web user interface rather than edit this bugger definition of the web service. And in the Internet of Things section, there is the core, that is the Internet of Things cloud platform, that is an MQTT broker. Anyway, so Okay, I've given to you a general overview of all the services. Let's back to the slide. I've finished the demo. So if someone has any question, I know that I've put a lot of info about. So what I suggest to you is to subscribe to the trial version if you have not already did. Then start testing the platform, and once you will start testing, you will discover a lot of feature, and maybe you will focus on your own development platform using your preferred languages. And after, you can back to me I will leave you my contact details, and if you want, you can write to me by email, ask me suggestions about you, if you would like to share with me your project that you want to build on Bluemix. We can interact and provide feedback to each other. Then, if you want to write me down for any suggestion, or maybe some specific technology that you would like to use, I can gather in all together and advertise and publish and deliver new webinar for directly on the topics that you would like to have. And so let's take a quick look on if someone has asking some question. Yes, the webinar will be recorded, so I used to publish it on my YouTube page, and then I can send, if you ask me, if you don't find on the web, you can send me an email now, ask me the link to the webinar. I will send to you. Okay, I want to thank you very much for your attention. So feel free to contact me if you need, and that's very all. Thank you for participating to the webinar. See you in one of the next webinar. Maybe we'll be more specific to some topics related with some programming languages and services. Thank you so much. See you. Bye-bye.